My name is James Simpson. I am a Manager of Sales Enablement at RingCentral. And what's really been interesting is how we transformed our onboarding program over the last, I could say year, but let's be real, it's probably 6 to 8 months, right? So, wow, the first thing you see is numbers. And you see this beautiful chart with 2 lines, an orange line and a blue line, and what you don't see is the story behind it. We just went through this amazing list of all these metrics we can track. And who's to say what metrics are right or wrong? We've got to go back to that, take it back to the graphic that Eli shared at the beginning with the baseline and the metrics. And that's where we were. We had a baseline. We're moving the needle on our top line bookings. This is just one metric we track. If you look at our mid-market, if you look at our majors, we're seeing the needle move across all segments of our business. We had this idea that we wanted to change our onboarding program. And to change our onboarding program, we said, what do we need to do? What do we want to track? What changes do we want to see? And in partnership with our sales leadership team, because as all of you know in this room, nothing works without sales leadership backing us up, we knew that we needed to reduce our ramp by 30%. That's a huge figure when you think about that and you go, well, what does ramp really mean? What does it mean to ramp and onboard new people? We knew that our sales teams needed to be certified on skills, on product knowledge, on systems, on tools, all of these things that are out there. And we said, well, what does certification mean? How do we figure that out? We knew that our boot camp needed to be limited to 1 week. Let me give you a history of what RingCentral's boot camp, if you will, looked like. You came to RingCentral, you were flown in day 1 to our Denver office, which is our largest US sales office, and for 2 weeks you would sit in a room, in a training room, and the trainer was there, and we had different people from all different segments of the business. Marketing come in, you'd have a sales leader come in. The schedule was very jumpy all over the place to wherever it would fit best into the nature of the business. And it wasn't really as effective as we thought it could be. But what do we know? We don't know what we don't know. And so we made some changes internally. I was brought on October of 2016. Siobhan was brought into our team on January of 2017. We hired Richard July of 2017, and we've continued to accelerate what our team's doing. We made this change in July of 2017, and I'm going to show you some pretty astounding numbers to what we did. We knew that it needed to be consistent, relevant, and ongoing. We didn't have consistent, relevant, and ongoing training because we had sporadic boot camps. We had a boot camp every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks, whatever was needed. We may have 2 people in it, we may have 3 people in it, we may have 10 people in it. And it wasn't conducive to creating a next-gen type of company. We needed to have a feedback loop for managers and sales. How many of us in this room think it's important to get feedback from our leadership that we support, from our sales teams that we support? Every single one of us should have our hands up. Those people are our customers. That's how we grow. That's how we get funded. And you'll hear more about the funding story tomorrow from our executive enablement team with AJ and Siobhan. And we knew that we needed to have a one-stop shop for content. I should not train you on every single process that we do at RingCentral. I should train you to the resources and show you where they are and enable you to go find them and be more productive and efficient. So then we got this big question that comes up on the screen. How in the heck do we measure the success of enablement? And that's the question that we all seem to ask ourselves. And we just went through all these metrics, right? They were great metrics. You guys came up with them. And we said, well, okay, great. We've got all these metrics, but which ones are right? All of us have different ideas. So we started this idea of Fight Club. I kid you not, we're sitting in a room, and Siobhan is this crazy creative brain of just magical mystery. And we're sitting there, and she says, we're trying to first figure out what are we going to call our program. She says, what about Fight Club? And then we toss back, well, you know, whatever happens in Fight Club stays in Fight Club. But not at RingCentral. It goes on Facebook and social media and all kinds of everywhere else it can go. We plastered on the internet. So you see here, this is our first Fight Club, and Fight is something that's near and dear to our hearts at RingCentral. It's our cultural values. It's focused, innovative, trusted, empowering. And so as we went into this idea of modifying and changing our enablement program, we said, well, how are we going to measure the results? And that's where Fight Club was born. So let's take a look at what our onboarding program looks like. It's 3 phases of Fight Club. You have pre-work, you have InClass, and you have post-work. I'm going to say something that's probably going to shock all of you. For 2 phases, pre-work and InClass, every single sales employee is brought into the same learning, whether you're a BDR, an SDR, SOHO, whether you're small business, whether you're mid-market, whether you're enterprise or majors. How do we do that? Because we bring them in and we start them off with pre-work. We got sales, and I'm going to bounce down here to leadership, buy-in, and accountability. At the very beginning, we got our leadership team to agree that if we do this, if we launch this new model, Siobhan went up and said, I need your commitment. Will you commit to follow our direction? And they said yes. And if it doesn't work, well then, okay, we'll back up. But we had this idea that it would work. And it did, and the results follow, and I'll tell you more about that in a minute. So leadership buy-in and accountability. We brought our leaderships in that we would launch this program, that they would enable their people all the way through the steps of the program, and that they would be accountable for the development and the enablement of their people. So let's look at the metrics we track in pre-work. Pre-work is done in the office. They start day one in their sales office, whether they're in Denver, whether they're in Charlotte, whether they're in Belmont, whether they're a field employee. They work in tandem with their teams, and they work in tandem with their managers. And we've built out our pre-work learning path with the help of the lovely Deb Sherba, thank you, giving us lots of ideas at the beginning on how to structure it and walk them through the flow. And the metrics we track are completion. Did they complete the learning path? Did they go in and do every single step in there? Did they go through the cultural pieces, the Info Central, which is where we do our sales content portal? Did they go through the product training? We look at call shadowing, and I'm going to tell you guys, I love SalesHood for call shadowing because this is what it does for me. I built a call shadowing module in SalesHood, and the sales rep goes in there, they have to pick someone to shadow, and you can see there's a shadowing on Monday, there's a shadowing on Tuesday, there's a shadowing on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. There are questions that I've built in there. Who did you shadow? What did you learn? What was the outcome? What was the current situation, the problems, the impacts, the benefits, blah, blah, blah. So I'm starting to lead them into my sales methodology. And then they type up all this, they click submit. What happens next is magical. I get an email with every single person that I'm onboarding, and I get to see what they learned. I get to see what was learned real life on the floor, if what they're learning on the floor is real practical information, or if perhaps we know that sometimes people get on the floor and they take shortcuts. There's a coaching area that I need to correct on the back end there with their leadership. We also, we ask them to do that elevator pitch. So that question that comes out, Mason, what do you guys do at Yext? Well, I just got this job here and I don't know how to say that. So we start them off very early with what's your elevator pitch and how do you do it? We look for 100% completion on this. Our leadership agrees, they're bought in. We are not the bad guys. We are the best friends. We are the partners to the leadership. And we say, look, this is the metrics that I have for you, and I have Mason who didn't complete 100%, and I bring it back full circle. So then we do our InClass portion. Again, all people of all different backgrounds, professional experience, professional career experience. We go through a week-long, is Barry Ryan in here? Hi, Barry. So Barry Ryan, we launched a Selling Through Curiosity methodology in January of last year. We started the conversations. Barry came out and did it in person for us in February in Denver, and then he did it again for us in March. Fantastic training. Probably, I mean, I've been through so many sales trainings in my professional career. One of the simplest things I've ever been through, and you just go, wow, that's amazing. How does it work? And we launched it as a company, and now we deliver it in a classroom setting. All of Barry's content's in SalesHood if you add that on, but it's an amazing program. You get to have a little bit of theory, then you get to have a little bit of practice, then you get to have some role plays, you have group discussion, and you do it all over again. So you don't get this monotonous experience that we had in our pre-experience 2-week program where it's death by PowerPoint. You get a fully immersive experience. So how do we track our metrics here? We redo the pitch. We have them redo it because what we learned in Selling Through Curiosity is perfect practice makes perfect. Keep practicing, keep practicing, keep practicing. We see them improve right here on their pitch. They score it, their managers score it, and we score it. So we get to track the improvement of their pitches. We also have a gamification element that we pass out. And so we encourage them to participate in our Selling Through Curiosity discussions in the classroom, and where at the very end, whoever has the most points, because we assign points based on whoever talks the most, which sometimes is dangerous. But we get to give them the best sales book ever written, which Barry knows that is, I won't steal your thunder if you want to tell about that later. And then we look at role plays, and how do we measure role plays? How do we measure the success of role plays? How do we mark down what you did well, what can you improve on, and give good qualitative feedback? Stand and delivers. This was another element that Siobhan went to bat for us, and she said, look, we're going to do all of this stuff for you, but we need leadership agreement. We need you to align with us, and we need your help. And so they learn all of everything that we do with our sales methodology Monday through Thursday. Friday, they go before their class, they go before their sales manager, they go before our sales enablement team, and they go before their area segment leaders. And they do a presentation, and they show that they understand the customer's current situation, the problems, the impacts, the ideals, the benefits, that they can create a customized presentation that adapts to our sales methodology, which is another piece. Can they adopt our sales process? It's great that you have history and experience, and that's why we hired you and brought you in. But can you adopt our sales process? And we also look for, are you a good cultural fit? All the way through this, leadership is engaged. What's become really interesting is we've changed the dynamic of the RingCentral leadership and enablement partnership. Our leaders now come to us to know how successful their people are going to be. It's great, and you all know from being professionals in the industry, interviews can sometimes go awry, sometimes they can be fluffed, and at the end of the day, you get somebody in the class and you're like, ooh, don't know if that person is the best fit. But our sales leaders have come to us now and believe in us, and we can track it in class on day one. Here's a leading success indicator that we use. We have them, as part of our Selling Through Curiosity example, take notes in the classroom. And this is an example that one rep put together on a 13-page typed-out customer conversation with complete customer story. Barry, are these good notes?
You tell me.
That's good. Great. I love how you ask me a question with a question. So, no, the answer is no. And let me show you why. I can compare two people. This is somebody that we would say was a seniored professional in the industry. And this allows us to have coaching on the spot. This person told me they didn't need to take notes because they could remember everything. That's not the case. That's not how it works. What did you have for breakfast 3 days ago? Oh, you're thinking you don't know. You probably skipped it. Okay, you're good in sales enablement. So then we look at this person's notes. I can see current situation examples. I can see branching. I can see impacts examples. I can see there are 5 impacts here. I move into, oh, that was just page 1. This is page 2. I see more problems, more impacts. I see page 3. Oh, there's some more. I see page 4. I see page 5. Guys, if you're not willing to invest into your career at the very beginning, what are you going to do down the road? So we use this as a metric to be able to tell how qualified are the people that we're hiring and how much are they investing into their career and how much can we help them at the beginning to bring them back on track or possibly determine that they're maybe not the best fit for the company. And then we look at PostWork. And so this is what you're probably all wondering, because up to this point, I've had BDRs, SDRs, SOHO, small business, mid-market, majors, and enterprise all in one room, all learning together, which, by the way, is a phenomenal plan because they get to learn the best practices and experiences from each other. Selling Through Curiosity methodology allows us to create a space and let magic happen. We don't have to train them everything. They really teach each other a lot of things. And so we look at learning paths, and we use SalesHood again, and we break out into segment-specific learning paths in SalesHood. So my upmarket people have upmarket-specific prescribed content. The content that matters most to them, we put in front of them. Why do I want to train them on mass-market processes when they are not mass-market people? Same thing with business development, same thing with mass market, same thing with signature, which would be the equivalent of our account retention and upsell team. Some of the metrics that we track at RingCentral: top-line bookings, time to first deal, time to second deal. So some of the things I heard over here. Lead to close. We track in Salesforce, when you get a lead, how quickly do we get them to close? And what's the percentage of those leads that actually go to close? We track opportunities to close. How many of your opportunities are actually then converted and closed? It's great to have an opportunity. You can put anything in opportunity stage, but if it's not closed, it doesn't count. So we look at these metrics and numbers to be able to tell how much we're improving. Our baseline was 2-week boot camp. We had the data to support us on all of these metrics, and then we're able to say, take these numbers, with the people that say the last 6 months before we launched Fight Club, take the Fight Club, take the 6 months, and I want to see those numbers in comparison to the numbers prior. And we continue with call shadowing and SE engagement, activities that we're tracking and engagement with other SalesHood modules. And the metric that matters most to us, I'm not going to say most, but a metric that matters to every single RingCentral employee is our stock. January 2017, stock was roughly $21 a share. This was March 2nd. They wouldn't let me update my PowerPoint past 5 o'clock on Friday. So it's $63.45. Overnight, it was $65 a share. 3 times what it was. And I will take a bow and say that is all from sales enablement.